And at the Slovakia ring for World Touring Car Champion. The team boss, Yves Maton.
Just a very quick word with you, Yves. You've got Ivan Muller on pole position for this main race. What's the strategy of the boys out there?
The strategy is to try to do 1 and 2 on the race to come back on the manufacturer championship.
Are you a little bit worried, given the speed and the ease that Norby took the boys, or certainly Muller, in the opening race?
Yes, for sure we were a little bit surprised. And
he made it look a little bit like you guys did last year.
Yeah. But okay, you know, with 80 kilo weight, it's a little bit difficult for us, but it will be better now, I think.
Great stuff, thank you.
Well, certainly Ivan Muller was caught absolutely cold by Norbert Michaelis with a last lap lunge around the outside of the turn 3-4 hairpin sequence, and he not only got by Muller, but he also got initially by Lopez as well, who then retook the spot. And Muller and Lopez will start first and third. Alongside them on the grid, alongside Muller, will be Nicky Katzberg in the Lada. He will start on the outside front row. But our DHL pole sitter for the main race here in Slovakia is 4-time World Touring Car Champion Ivan Muller. He produced a lap of rare brilliance in Q3 yesterday, an astonishingly quick lap. However, it could have been even eclipsed by the Lada of Nicky Katzberg, and that would have been Lada's first ever outright pole position.
Absolutely, and ironically slightly robbed by, as we were saying earlier, Jose Maria Lopez, Ivan's teammate. But the impressive thing about Ivan's lap was it was with 80 kilos of success weight, and that makes the car very, very difficult to drive. It's going to be an interesting dynamic in this race, because I expect the Citroens to get away well and to be strong in the first part of the race, but I think that they'll probably start to struggle with tyre wear towards the end. Having said that, it's Nicky Katzberg starting P2, and from what we saw in race 1, the Lada doesn't have good race pace either, which isn't related to weight, it's just a car setup thing. But the Hondas do, but they're starting 4th and 5th with Norby and Huff. And yeah, we'll have to see where they are. But in terms of the Citroen in Bernani's hands at the end of the last race, Thiago, once he got through, was well over a second lap faster.
Yeah, you just saw Thiago on his way to the grid. Montero, the race 1 winner, ahead of this man, Mehdi Bernani, who started on the outside front row of the grid. Got a very good getaway, led 3/4 of the distance before finally Montero managed to get by him. Rob Huff did not, however. Leading the WTCC trophy, that's the independent drivers' points race. Bernani now 13 points ahead of Sebastian Loeb's Citroen teammate Tom Chilton. Tom Coronel in 3rd place. Gregoire de Moustier closes on him in 4th. John Philippi, René Munich and James Thompson, the remaining point scorers in the WTCC trophy. So Thiago Montero starting in 7th place. The interesting thing perhaps might be that despite Citroen's dominance over the last 2 seasons, qualifying record before this weekend, 2 minutes 3.73 set by Citroen's Jose Maria Lopez, there he is. Race record before this weekend, 205.74 set by Gabriele Tarquini's Honda last year. So the race lap record set last year by Honda. Now, we heard on the radio that Bernani was quicker in a straight line than the Hondas, and Thiago took, of the 11 laps, he took, what, 8 to get by him? He passed him, I think, on lap 9, so it took him a long time to wear down Bernani's defence, and he only ever had 1 lunge at him. It was successful, but it was the only time there was even an overlap between the cars, so there's not much wrong with the Citroen's pace, despite it carrying 20 kilos more weight penalty this race than it ever has done in the past.
The big advantage that Citroen have is in straight line speed, and in reality the 2 best overtaking spots on this circuit, probably turn 1 and turn 3, are very dependent on your straight line speed. So the Citroen has a great defence mechanism in that sense. You need to take your opportunity in the middle sector, but it's very difficult. And you know, Huff was in the same car as Montero pace-wise, so a second lap quicker at the end of the race, but unable to get past Banani himself.
Coming to the tail of the grid, you can see Ferenc Fischer, whose car caught fire, and Ted Björk in the Volvo.
Is the track temperature hotter than before? The ambient feels hotter.
Yeah.
According to our measurements, it's almost the same. 1 degree colder, both ambient, both track. Okay, so maybe just inside the car that it's hotter.
Because you just had lunch. 27 degrees track temperature, 19 degrees of air temperature being registered, and that's probably because the breeze is picking up. It was 21 before the start of the first race and 26 of track temperature, so the ambient in both has gone up, but the breeze makes it feel a little cooler. Dominic Greiner there in the door of James Thompson's Munich Motorsport Chevrolet. I was trying to add up in my head a little earlier. He's raced Ladas, Seats, Hondas,
Alfa Romeo,
Alphas. What before Alpha, James Thompson? So that's 4. So this is his 5th different manufacturer car that he has raced in this championship. He raced 2 different generations, 3 different generations of Lada. 3 different models. 3 different models of Lada, and for 4 other manufacturer chassis as well. So a wide variety of experience. Ivan Muller, our DHL pole sitter from Nicky Katzberg. Jose Maria Lopez, the world champion and points leader, coming in here, lies 3rd ahead of Norbert Michelis, the overtaking exponent here. Rob Huff and Thiago Monteiro with Ted Björk's Volvo between them. Gabriele Tarquini starts in 8th place, and behind him will be his teammate Ugo Valente. The boot on the other foot there from race 1. Between them, Mehdi Banani, and then 11th and 12th, Chilton and Philippi. Chevrolet for Philippi, and this year, of course, a Citroën for Chilton. Demoustier, his teammate at Sebastian Loeb, ahead of James Thompson, Tom Coronel and Ferenc Fischer. Fischer's car caught fire towards the end of the first race, but it looks as though Zoltan Zengo's crew have not only got it fixed, but got it out on track. Fredrik Ekblom starting at the back of the grid after losing all his qualifying times for missing the weighbridge coming in at the end of Q2. Jose Maria Lopez led the main race in France and was hounded all the way to the checkered flag by Thiago Monteiro. Montero's won race 1 here. Lopez starts 3rd on the grid in the main race. So Thiago Monteiro with victory in the opener. Can he get close to the world champion in the main race here? And will they even be battling for victory? The bright blue of the Cyan Racing Polestar Volvo S60 of Fredrik Ekblom, the Swedish veteran, on the final spot on the grid. Decent qualifying run from both Volvo drivers, but at the end of Q2, he missed the weighbridge, and that penalty applied for that is to lose all your qualifying times, therefore effectively didn't qualify at all. He starts at the back and behind anyone else with any other kind of problems. Just in front of him, you will see Ferenc Fischer, the 19-year-old Hungarian driver in the Zengo Motorsport Honda Civic. That car went off in turn 13, the long penultimate corners gravel trap. A fire under the right rear wheel arch. Something had caught light there, whether it was a little bit of carbon mounting that had broken and something was bumping against the exhaust, heated by the exhaust, or whatever it was. It seems that the team have managed to repair it and they have got the car back out on the grid. At least I'm sure I saw it in the background. Maybe he was coming back and has gone into the pit lane. Well, I definitely saw it. There is the fire. definitely when we had a long shot of cars coming to the back of the grid, I saw a blue Volvo and a car with lime green highlights, and that is the only car with lime green highlights, so he may well have had to go back into the pit lane, and that means that he's not going to make a grid start, at least. It may be that they've decided that there is still an issue with the car, and rather than risk it here, they're going to try and keep it in one piece so they can take it and race it in Hungary. Tom Coronel was on the 8th row of the grid in 15 spots, just in front of him 14th after qualifying James Thompson. Now, you know this car well, having run the Chevy Cruze with Craft Bamboo Racing, but for Tomo, it's brand new, and it's a new team, and, you know, trying to find the ultimate balance in a car you've never tested and never driven at all, it's going to be a really tough ask for a driver. Big
challenge, and you know, Tomo's not been in a car for a year really. So to come in here with no testing in a car that he's not driven before and with a team he's never worked with before is always a really big challenge. But you can see this weekend that the Chevrolet is really struggling. So yeah, kind of everything's conspired against him. But actually, I just saw him very briefly after race one, and despite not the best race, he's still in good spirits, and he's enjoying himself nonetheless.
Yeah, he's a racing driver. He's back with the family he knows well. This whole paddock is just a large family. He bears no malice to Lada. All the Lada boys have been giving him big handshakes and big hugs because they haven't seen him for a year either, and he's been really an intimate part of the development of that team right from day one. Tomo's been involved in bringing that car up the grid, you know, really consistently, so he's still very much a fan favourite among the team members, and you know, from top to bottom in Lada, they've got the utmost respect for him. So good to see him back. Ahead of him, Gregoire de Moustier and John Philippi in a Chevrolet, of course, and then Tom Chilton just missed out on a top 10 position. If he'd been a fraction quicker in qualifying, he'd have started the opening race from pole position rather than this man, Ugo Valente, and that could have been a very different look to the weekend then for Chilton. Again, like Tomo, brand new to the Citroën last weekend. Even his engineer had never done a day's work on the Citroën when we were in Paul Ricard, so they're learning on their feet as well.
Absolutely, and also Tom, I think, was slightly out of sorts coming into the weekend. He's had a bit of a fever, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's very difficult. You know, Banani, his teammate here that we're looking at now, he's been with that team for over a year, and everything's working well. Whereas Tom's just at the basics, you know, he's only at the beginning of his understanding of how to work with his team and how to work with his car. But I'm sure that Tom will get there. He's got a lot of touring car experience, and I'm sure that he'll progress throughout the year.
Talking of a lot of touring car experience, plenty of that with Gabriele Tarquini. His young teammates, Ugo Valente and Nicky Katzberg, have been saying, talking to Gabriele, it's like there's 5 engineers in his head, all kind of producing ideas and thoughts about where to go with the car. And they've just been sitting back, taking notes and letting him lead the direction. And it's definitely the case that Lada have made a step forward over the winter. The car is developing and progressing. Of course, brand new at the beginning of the season last year, and not all of them were actually ready to race when they went to Argentina, and so they were sort of on a catch-up all the way through the season. Thiago Monteiro, our opening race winner, starts in 7th place on the grid here. In front of him, he was in the middle of the top 10 for both of the starts this weekend, Ted Bjerk, and Bjerk, again, just missing out on going through into Q3 in the top 5, and for a team in only their 2nd race weekend with a brand new car, with 2 drivers and an engineering department that have never been to this track before, you can't argue with that. They're producing pace from the moment they hit the deck in Paul Ricard, and that's got to give them confidence for the inevitable lows that will come during the season. They know that they're close, and they've got the opportunity, of course, to improve now from their ground zero.
Absolutely, and you know, Volvo pace in race 1 was very good, particularly with Bjork, and obviously Ekblom got up into the points from starting stone cold last after missing the weighbridge in qualifying. But I think the most exciting thing about the Volvo is that it's a very, very good base car, but they've also got all the development avenues open to them. Without boring everybody, the regulations for World Touring Car are quite strict in terms of technical development, and basically you get these playing cards called jokers, which allow you to change certain key components on your car and redesign them. So teams like Honda have used all or nearly all of their jokers, whereas Volvo are sat there with a clean hand of things that they can change. So that'll be interesting how that progresses through the year, because I think that they're probably the team that has the biggest scope to be able to develop their car through the year.
Holding all the aces at the moment, though, is Yves Maton. The Citroën C-Élysée is still the best car on the grid, and he still has 6 world champions in his 2-driver lineup. 2, the reigning world champion, of course, Jose Maria Lopez, and Ivan Muller with 4 titles under his belt. But Nicky Katzberg, Ugo Valente and Gabriele Tarquini with the Lada Vesta are definitely going to start shaking the establishment. Katzberg, by rights, should be on pole here on outright pace. Ivan Muller produced a stunning lap. Katzberg, however, was obstructed even minimally. He missed pole by 0.04 of a second. I mean, a year ago, Lada were just hoping that they would get close to top 5 or maybe start the reverse grid pole position. Now, you know, you're kind of expecting to see 1, maybe 2 of them getting through into the fastest cars, the fastest 5 cars in qualifying. Well, he starts outside front row, but it is Ivan Muller who is our DHL pole sitter for the main race. Cars on the formation lap. Let's hear what Rob Huff is doing as he gets ready to race in Slovakia.
Welcome aboard my Honda Civic Type R for race 2. Had a good opening race. Fantastic start from 6th on the grid to finish P3. Even better result for Thiago. We just couldn't quite overcome Mehdi in the last couple of corners, the last couple of laps. But we've changed the balance of the car a little bit, so hopefully the car will be better in this race. Obviously, more potential to attack the guys in front, so we're looking for less understeer. Slovakia always eats the tyres very quickly, and you end up with a lot of understeer very quickly. But so far so good. Hopefully make another belting start. Hopefully jump 1 or 2 at the beginning, so we can get around the first couple of corners nice and cleanly. Bag ourselves some more points. That's what it's about this year, bagging points, being in it at the end of the championship, and hopefully get another good result. Car feels good, I feel good, making sure everything on the steering wheels. As you can probably see, my steering wheel's got 1,000,000 buttons on it. Not really sure what most of them do, but the important ones I do, so that's good. Everything's set in the right place now, and ready for the start. So some fun, kids. Cheers.
Now he's talked to us. His engineer will go back through with him this setting, that setting, preload, engine mapping, launch control mapping. All the other bits and pieces have to be exactly the right setting for the start, and you may well then have to change them for the race itself. But he will double check and go through that again to absolutely make certain that Rob has got exactly the settings he needs to launch that car perfectly off the line.
Absolutely. The driver's race engineer is very much like his second brain, because there's quite a lot going on at this point, and these guys need to get into a bit of a focus for the race and start. There's a lot going on, and therefore all those sort of bells and whistles that the drivers can discuss with their engineers, it's just another set of eyes, another set of ears, and make sure that nothing's left to chance, and allow the driver to concentrate on making the best getaway possible.
Well, there is the Lada garage, there is Yves Maton at the Citroën garage. Ivan Muller on pole, Nicky Katzberg alongside, Jose Maria Lopez 3rd. And on fresher tyres, Norbert Mikulich 4th. Rob Huff 5th, hoping to jump a couple from the start. Huffy, of course, was 3rd in the opening race here. And for Norby, on the left-hand side of the screen, behind that yellow Lada, he's got to get down the inside into the first corner and somehow try and get in amongst those Citroëns if he wants to win this race. He's got to blow by Katzberg, whether Katzberg makes a brilliant start or an awful one, and try and get in amongst the Citroëns, or at least hook up behind them and try and pile on the pressure. Cars are on the grid, the green flag waves, the main race in Slovakia is about to get underway. On the right, pole sitter Ivan Muller, on the left, the Lada of Nicky Katzberg. Red lights on, away they go. Long run down to the first corner. Mikulich looks outside, he's got to look inside as Katzberg tries to catch up with Lopez, who's made a brilliant start. It will go by Ivan Muller to lead into the first corner. The Hondas are 3 wide, and it looks as though Huff is in the middle, Montero on the outside, Norby on the inside, little bump with Rob, Montero's got the run, and Katzberg is inside outside. Muller running down to turn 2. This is going to be ballsy from Katzberg to try and stay there. He's got the track position. Muller hangs on the outside but can't hold on. Has to just breathe off the throttle or risk running through the gravel trap. Katzberg up to second. That's an electrifying start from Lopez, but Katzberg giving himself a great opportunity as he splits the Citroens. And in fourth place, Thiago Monteiro ahead of Rob Huff and Norbert Michelis, and then Tarquini on the grass, and he's going to come alongside Ugo Valenti. Doesn't get alongside his teammate. Wow, all arms and elbows in the first couple of corners. Dramatic start, but they all got through safely.
What a great gift for Pachito Lopez there, now leading the race, because Katzberg's race pace is probably not going to be that great in this first part of the race, which will back up Ivan and the Hondas, which would be the main threat to any chance of victory.
Well, the car's running quicker this year than the outright track record in the race from last year. That was a 2:05.7. We were down in the 2:04.3s in the opening race. This race is 1 lap longer. They'll carry a fraction more fuel to the grid as a result. You don't just fill the tank and let them go. Oh, Frederick Ekblom down the inside of John Philippi. And this is the favoured overtaking place in the twisty tight stuff. If you've got a good chassis, that's where you use it. Of course, you need a good brake pedal under you as well. There's his teammate Ted Björk. So Ekblom ahead of Philippi, who started 12th, Ekblom 17th. So Philippi did not get a good getaway. He's now behind Tom Coronel, who clearly has moved up the order a little as well. Well then, 62, that's the blue car of Ted Björk. And a little more relaxed looking Lada pit wall. Nobody's collided with anybody else on the first lap in yellow cars, so that's always good news. And Nicky Katzberg is second. And Ivan Muller is not going to get to him in the first turn. So despite the Citroen's straight line pace, that's a quick little bunny, that Lada out front.
Absolutely, but Lopez has got himself a second lead on that opening lap, and he'll be very pleased to see a yellow car in his rearview mirror and not the teammate Ivan.
Yeah, I think he would be very happy to see anybody in his rearview mirror in the opening lap rather than Ivan Muller. Anything between the teammates is always good news for one and bad news for the other. And again for Muller, the imperative now to get a hurry up and somehow find a way past Katzberg from a little too far back is going to be increasing with every metre. This is a long lap, 5.92 kilometres. So getting on for 6 Ks, we've got a dozen laps to go, or now 11 laps including this one. So there's a decent distance, but there are still only 3 or 4 genuine overtaking opportunities if the driver in front doesn't throw it into the weeds.
Yeah, absolutely, and don't forget this race is 1 lap longer, which doesn't sound very much, but as you said, Martin, because this lap is so much longer than the normal circuits we go to, being nearly 6 Ks, then it does make quite a big difference.
I tell you what, if Thiago could have paid for an extra lap at Paul Ricard in the main race, I'm sure he would have, because I think he would have got by Jose Maria Lopez and won the race in that one. It can make a huge difference. As you say, if you're struggling carrying a lot of extra weight, the further you have to carry it, the more it hurts. Whether you're a human or a car, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Absolutely, and Honda's strength here today is their tyre management and their race pace in those last 4 laps. So it's a bit of a shame for them that they didn't get the rub of the green on that first lap.
Yeah.
There's still a few cars ahead of them, which will make challenging for victory difficult now.
Fastest race lap, first time round, was from Jose Maria Lopez. Fastest first sector on this lap from Ugo Valenti, who's at the back of this queue you're looking at. There's his yellow Lada ahead of Ted Björk's Volvo. They're 7th and 8th. Incident involving cars 10 and 68. Well, that is Nicky Katzberg and Ivan Muller under investigation. Incident?
Don't remember seeing anything that would warrant an investigation, but
I think either of them hit each other.
maybe we missed something there.
I will take a look in the archive and see if the EBS guys can find anything, but I certainly didn't see any contact. All right, they were both being ballsy as you like down into turn 2, but there was no contact between them. Let's see what the stewards come up with. They're going to investigate it anyway.
Lopez increasing his lead that time around by another half a second, and he knows that he's going to struggle the last 4 laps, so this is where he's got to build that lead in case the champagne cork that is Katzberg pops and some of these quicker cars get through.
Well, ostensibly quicker, in all case he did out-qualify them, and the Lada, he was also fastest in free practice too, wasn't he, ahead of the 2 Volvos, so it has got decent pace.
Yeah, but race pace is a different thing, and I think that what Honda showed in race 1 is that they've probably got the fastest race car over the 12 laps.
Katzberg, Well, let's hear from Jose Maria Lopez.
Yeah, those ramps I cannot leave, I need to pull out. I don't want to risk.
He wants to pull out, he wants to lift.
I didn't quite get that.
No? Sorry, Winker, don't quite get your banter. Not sure what he needs. Okay, let's watch Ivan Muller, pole man, Nicky Katzberg, the yellow car, on board with Katzberg. Lopez goes through. Katzberg, Muller, oh, okay, yes. All right, fair enough. Forgotten that, that was 2 laps ago. Where was Katzberg going exactly as Muller came across to the apex?
I think that's a racing incident. It looks like Ivan's sweeping in to try and get back on the back of Pachito.
Where's all the dust? Who's gone off? Has Huffy run over the dust? Katzberg on the outside, Lopez around, it's Lopez! Lopez kicked up the dust. Lopez ran wide, out of 9 up to 10, did he?
Valente's past Michelitz as well.
And Nicky Katzberg is challenging for the lead. It was out of turn 10 and 11. So Lopez we were watching the first cut, yes. They go, what happened? We didn't see it either. Lopez is about to be passed on pace, or is he by Katzberg? No, he holds the line into turn 1, and smoking up behind comes Thiago Montero, and Katzberg is still there and drives underneath the Citroen in his Lada. A sentence I didn't think 12 months ago I would ever say.
Where's Muller?
Muller is 8th.
He's 8th.
Okay, we need to see what happened in all of that. There's Muller at the back of the queue behind Ted Björk. So Lopez made a mistake. Wow, let's hear from Lopez.
Something is wrong, something happened. I don't know what happened. Big vibration in the back.
Okay, so he was complaining about damage to the splitter on the in-lap at the end of the opening race. He suddenly has a big vibration, or had a big vibration. I don't know what happened, which is not, I went off.
Cause and effect there, Martin. I think he may have just made a mistake and then has a vibration. But certainly his race pace before that was not that of somebody that's got a damaged splitter. So.
Okay, best lap, 206.6. Last lap, 209.6.
Yeah, he's definitely had an off.
Yeah. Well, we saw the dust, didn't we? And I thought it was further back in the field, and I was looking to see where Huffy had got to, or Norby, or Thiago, or somebody. But he went off, and Muller went off, presumably, at pretty much the same place.
And Muller has obviously had tunnel vision as well, but...
Well, the good news for Katzberg, the race leader, no further action. Well, here's Muller, bumps down the inside of Rob Huff. Huff's inside him there, has to avoid that enormous tyre stack that would have written off the car, and Muller's off. So that's what happened with Muller. That's why he went off. Okay, that was the classic Ivan Muller bumping and boring his way in, wasn't it? And then gets given as good as he got.
But he'd already lost the position, Martin. We've obviously...
And here's Lopez. No, that's the pass. That's not where he went off. Yes, you're right, because he dropped behind and...
He was already behind a Honda, so Muller had already lost some ground.
So we haven't got on board from Lopez of where he went bouncing across the ground, and it was over the bridge, somewhere around turn 10. Wow, what a dramatic lap for Citroen. Nicky Katzberg leads and is free of any further penalty. Moment to get our breath back. After 5 breathless laps, what does Jose Maria Lopez think?
I don't know what it is. There is a big vibration on the brake. I don't know what it is.
Still complaining about a vibration that he can't. I don't know what it is, or I don't know if it's the diff. I'm not sure, but again, he's clearly trying to race wheel to wheel at World Championship level and calmly in a back room try and download what he is feeling, translate it into what might be happening, and somehow try and tell the engineers.
Cause and effect there. I mean, he may have just made a mistake, gone off, and then damaged the brakes.
He ran wide there again, kicking up the dust on the exit.
Yeah, he's obviously struggling with a bit of an issue. This is bringing Montero right into play now as well, because as we know from race 1, his race pace is very, very good.
Yeah.
Once he got the lead in the last race, he was 1.2 seconds a lap quicker, and he didn't have much drop-off at all with his tyres.
I'm going to ask this now. Who was the last double race weekend winner? It was Lopez.
Or was it?
Must have been Lopez. Must have won it. must have won 2 in the last season or the season before. But Thiago has got a chance to do that here. He won the opening race. He's in 3rd. He's less than a second behind Katzberg, the leader, who is not escaping. If he can... Oh, and Valente is out. Valente out of 5th position. He was in the battle with Huff, with Michelisz, with Björk, with Muller, and he is off and out of the race.
It's on the exit of turn 5.
It's in sector 2, so that sounds right. It's in all the twisty, convoluted corners. Katzberg leads. Lopez is not giving up. Look, he's showing the nose still on the run down the straight.
Again, his straight line speed is the best of those 3 cars, and he's using that to his advantage in this sector of the track.
And that weight is not hindering as much in the fast turn 1 or very fast turn 2 as it is in the twisty stuff. And look how much he closes down. He was only 4,600s behind at the line. He halves that between the start-finish and corner 2, but now the Lada will start to just creep away. And the question mark now for Lada and Nicky Katzberg is, how will the car work its tyres compared to the pursuers, Lopez, and perhaps more especially Thiago Monteiro?
Katzberg's pace is starting to drop off a little bit. He was only a 2:08 last time around. And as we can see in race 1, Tarquini struggled a little bit as well, slightly flattered by the battling cars behind him. So we know Lada hasn't got a great pace. Monteiro's definitely licking his lips now at 25 points for the second race.
Yeah. Monteiro in 3rd, Huff in 4th. They were 1st and 3rd in race 1. They could easily do the same. And behind Huff is Michelisz. We heard him hoping to try and jump a few, and so too was Huffy. It didn't happen at the start. Citroen certainly got lit up off the line, but a couple of laps in, both Lopez and Muller made fundamental errors, or something went wrong, and they both ended up in trouble, getting past and getting into battles that they really wanted to try and avoid.
Yeah, the big handicap for Monteiro is his straight line speed. As you can see, once we get onto the straights, Lopez just starts to edge away again. That makes it very, very difficult for Monteiro to have any chance of overtaking him on at least 50% of the circuit.
Yeah. Now he closes right in as they get onto brakes for turn 13. And look at the way that the Honda chews at the back of the Citroen, but as soon as Lopez picks up the throttle, that tiny increment is going to start to open. It'll be 2 or 3 car lengths by the end of the straight. Katzberg has opened up a little bit more of an advantage this time, 0.97 in front. He opened up half a second on Lopez, and he only needs to do that per lap for 3 or 4 laps, and suddenly it becomes a lot more of a target for Thiago Monteiro.
No question, Lopez struggling under braking now more and more. We can see that into turn 13 last time around. And although Katzberg looks like his pace is okay, he's still a good 1.2 seconds off what he was doing earlier in the race. Now as we're over the halfway stage, we'll see tyre wear become more and more important to these guys.
Rob Huff starting to get impatient, shows his nose to Thiago Monteiro. Do you want me to go and have a go? I think I might be able to dust up Lopez. Well, certainly Thiago managed to unlock a Citroen to win the opening race. There's Ugo Valente, has finished both races here with a disappointment after starting the opener on pole.
Yeah, a big disappointment considering his pace this weekend. You have to say no points other than what he scored. No points at all.
No points at all, I'm afraid. So, tough weekend for him. Gabrielli had a tough weekend in Paul Ricard. Tarquini is way down the order as well in 15th, won't score here. So as in race 1, the same 2 Ladas in trouble, and the only other one is now leading this race, not just scoring well, but scoring handsomely. And now you can't see him in the same shot unless we have a longer shot of Lopez versus the Hondas. Uh-oh, and here comes Ted Björk. Ted Björk on board behind Huff is Michelisz. But Björk is right there as well, not far away. His best race lap, 400ths of a second quicker than Norby's. He's at the back of this slipstreaming train, so he will stay in touch with this group.
Yeah, already we're only in the second sector, and Lopez has lost a second already.
Yeah. Oh. Katzberg running out very wide there. I thought maybe a little too wide, but he still leads. Nicky Katzberg in the yellow Lada leads now by 1.2 seconds over Jose Maria Lopez. Pulled out 3/10 on the world champion on that lap, half a second the lap before. Katzberg has got his nose to the grindstone. He can't afford to make any mistakes, but he must push with everything the car has got and just hope that Lopez is as strong in defence as he is in attack, because Lopez needs to hold off Montero and Huff and Michelitz and possibly Ted Björk as well.
These guys fighting and flattering Katzberg a little bit. That mistake on that last time around cost him a second. So although it's 3/10 quicker, it should have been 1.3.
Yeah. Well, you can only race with what you've got, and that's what Katzberg and Lopez are at the moment. Montero may have a quicker car, but where is he going to be able to use it? He's certainly keeping enough distance in front of Huff and Michelis. Norby now in that grey, white and red Honda.
Lopez starting to slide a lot more now. Tyre wear becoming more and more of an issue for him.
A couple of years ago, he was quite happy with an oversteery car, a bit of a tail-happy car. He has finessed up his Citroen driving technique to the extent where he almost never breaks loose, and it's almost always Ivan whose car looks the more of a handful. And any time that Lopez is sliding, you know that he is pushing the car beyond what the owner's manual says it will do. Michelitz getting in very deep behind Huffy there and having to really compromise that sequence of corners to avoid clattering the back of the number 12 car. On board with Thiago. And you just can see that that Citroen is creeping away. Not by much, but just by enough.
That's the issue, and on the exit of this turn 13, you'll see Montero probably start to close up again. Yeah, exactly. So this is the frustrating thing for Montero, but it's nothing that wasn't new from race one. But he's just hoping that his tyre degradation will get worse in this this final third of the race.
Well, it's a battle now, isn't it? Whether the extra weight wears Lopez's tyres faster than the turbulent air and lack of downforce wears Montero's tyres right behind him. It's who runs out of tyre or brake first.
Meanwhile, every lap this is going on, it's really helping Nicky Katzberg.
Yep, 1.15 in front. He was as quick. Lopez was as quick in the first sector, a tenth slower in the second sector, but 3/10 quicker in the final sector. Lopez finds that pace towards the end of the lap.
I don't know what to do. I don't know. He's too risky. I have to touch. I don't know. I have no video, so I only touch it.
Speaking from the bottom of the swimming pool, Jose Maria Lopez, and you know, if we're finding it hard to understand, his engineers will find it possibly equally difficult to understand, or they may know what direction they're looking in, and they may just be looking for some confirmation from him whether he can or can't do something for them.
Didn't quite catch what he said, but uncharacteristically, he sounded stressed.
Yeah.
And normally, when Pachito's on the radio, he's very calm, but he sounds pretty stressed.
Well, this is Paul Ricard playing itself out all over again, except Paul Ricard, he was hustling away from Montero almost on his own until the last 2 or 3 laps. Now we've got 3 to go after this, but he's had 6-7 laps of pressure already. In fact, 9 laps of pressure from Montero already. So he's not been able to drive his own race or sort out his own problem. Montero is just like a bull in a china shop. He is just going at it, and he's so close now as they come over the rise down to turn 10. Montero is all over the back of the Citroen. We're looking back from Huff and Michelitz.
Starting to show his nose a bit more, starting to be a bit more aggressive, Montero. And I have to say, Thiago is a really, really lovely guy, and he's very much a confidence driver. So having won the race before, having sort of been the stronger Honda by local judgment, he's getting that confidence, and you can see he's really got the bit between his teeth.
And last year really turned around his World Touring Car career, because he, although he ended up somehow behind Gabriel in points, he was so often the quicker of the 2 Honda drivers, the better placed, the more racy of the 2. Just didn't work out in the end, because the final race weekend that he scored more points than his teammate. And that confidence going through the winter and coming in, you know, development of the car, and now being able to take the battle to a 2-time world champion and his 4-time world champion teammate and catch and pass them, as you say, that gives you a huge amount of confidence. Now Lopez has taken half a second out of Katzberg on the last lap.
Is Katzberg now in trouble with his tyres?
Well, he is, and Lopez is just deciding not to talk on the radio and get on with driving what's left of his car. And he may not yet have given up any chance of winning this. He might suddenly be starting to think, I can get to that Lada. I've got another 2 laps after this. I can do him.
Yeah, and Huff's starting to drop back a little bit. And I have to say, Ivan Muller's been very quiet since he's had that incident earlier on with the Hondas.
Yeah, he's 0.3 of a second off the pace on pretty much every lap, although he's now starting to recuperate and is a second behind Ted Björk for 6th. But he hasn't been able to close, so he's bounced over the grass somewhere and damaged something a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a big bit, it doesn't have to be visible, it just has to have an effect, because these cars are so closely matched. We're talking about, oh, he dropped a massive amount, that's 1/10 of a second. It's 1/10 of a second! It is a massive amount, but it's a tiny amount as well. The gaps, though, are so infinitesimal between these cars.
Well, only have to look at Mach 3, where three cars from 2 brands set an identical time to realise how close it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, although Lada fluffed their run, there was nothing to choose at speed between Citroën and Honda. And that's good news for Montero, and may not be good news for Katzberg, because here comes Lopez. Katzberg has made a mistake, and Lopez is challenging for the lead. Down the front straight, Lopez has got the speed, and Katzberg ran out of grip at the exit of 13 into 14. He is now going to have to defend with everything he can muster for 2 laps. He's got a double world champion with his tail up. Katzberg's running out of tyres and brakes. Lopez is running out of tyres and brakes. It could all fall into the lap of Thiago Montero in the closing 2 laps here in Slovakia.
Yeah, very, very close. The only advantage for Katzberg is that Lopez has been moaning about the brakes, so despite his straight line speed advantage, he might not be able to carry a move off with his brake issue.
Well, Lopez has been moaning, we've heard. Katzberg may equally have been moaning, we just haven't heard that particular bit of team radio. Penultimate lap of the main race in Slovakia. The world champion who won the main race in France, Thiago Montero, who was 2nd in the main race in France, are currently chasing the race leader in the yellow Lada, Nicky Katzberg. Never won a race in the World Touring Car Championship, I think I'm right in saying, and he has got the opportunity to now. He's led almost from the start, but has suddenly faded in the last couple of laps, and what was a 2-second plus advantage over Lopez is now down to barely a 2-car length advantage, and at times not even that. But look at Lopez's body language as Huff has gone off. He's run out of something, so Mikulec has moved up 1, Huff has lost 4th, and you saw the body language from Lopez. He was there on the straight defending against Montero. He's shutting an option for Montero, and that then gives Katzberg again half a second of breath to just draw and try and plan a defence.
Lopez mentally is in attack and defence at the same time at the moment, and don't forget he's also got a car that he's not very happy with, so looks like he might get a run on him this time, because the straight line speed of the Citroën is far superior to the Lada.
And the traction is what counts there. He turns inside the Lada. Katzberg comes across the line. If the checkered flag was waiting, Lopez would have won it, but he goes across the line on the final lap by 0.02 of a second and around the outside. Thiago is throwing everything at this. Now he's got to try and cut back underneath Lopez and Katzberg and see if he can't take the lead from 3rd place. He's got Mikulec right behind him. Montero is into 2nd. It is like the last lap a fortnight ago in Paul Ricard. Lopez leads, Montero is coming, and Norby is trying to get underneath Katzberg. Katzberg on the outside and on the utter limit, and through goes Montero for the moment, but Lopez may have made the critical gap over the chasing pack as they squabble to get by the Lada. Lopez could be on his way to win number 2 of the season. Astonishing, he fell off the road, gave away the lead of the race to Nicky Katzberg, who could not have held it even if it had been the opening race 1 lap shorter. Then Lopez would have won it by 200. As it is, Katzberg now desperately trying to hang on to the final podium spot ahead of Norbert Mikulec.
And that sequence of corners is why Jose Maria Lopez is a back-to-back double world champion. He's got a car he's not happy with. He's got issues. He's had it mirrors all race, and he's still managed to pass Kasberg, who's now really struggling to hold on to third.
Yeah, Kasberg in third. 3 corners to go, and he is just easing away from Norby. Norby tried to go a long way around the outside, and Norby's going to have to watch out for Ted Björk. Björk suddenly looking ultra racy here. He's been content to follow these guys and wait for an opportunity. The Volvo may be lacking a 1/10 of a second a lap on the cars in front of him, and Kasberg and Michelitz getting at it for the final spot on the podium. Last lap of the race here in Slovakia. Huge crowd for Michelitz here, and it'll be even huger next week. Lopez is being chased down by Montero, who's not going to catch him unless he goes off. And Kasberg, if he can hold the inside line, Norby is coming, and so is Björk, and Björk's looking for 4th place. Goes inside and around Norbert Michelitz. And Jose Maria Lopez wins in Slovakia. I made it.
It's amazing. I don't understand how you hold on. Oh my God. It was like, oh.
Unbelievable live reaction as he crosses the line from Jose Maria Lopez, and he's still going on, I'm sure. What emotion from him. Well, Ivan Muller said after qualifying, the team on the simulator suggest we should be able to take pole. After free practice, he said, me and Petito just went, not a chance. And in the end, Ivan did take pole by the tiniest margin, and Lopez there winning by 7/10 of a second from Thiago Montero, a race that looked lost despite the fact that he took the lead into the first corner. He led in the first corner, he led in the last corner, and very little of the space in between. And Nicky Kasberg, 3rd at the line. What a great race for him. Thiago Montero, winner of the opening race, 2nd in the main race. Big weekend, hatful of points for him. Ted Björk, what an opportunist move as well. Bided this time, kept his powder drive until the final corner. Got by Norbert Michelitz for 4th place. Volvo's best result of the season. The man in the blue car. And it's time for us to catch our breath. Hungary. The race leader comes down pit road behind the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroën of Frenchman Grégoire de Moustier. Jose Maria Lopez, our main race winner here in Slovakia, as he was in France. He has won the main race in both of the season opening race weekends, and on neither occasion was it even remotely as comfortable a race as he would have hoped or liked or maybe wished he could have had. Both times he was under the gun from start to finish, and somehow he came up with the goods again.
I think when, on reflection, this will probably be one of his most cherished victories, because I think it's one that he didn't expect, and he obviously was really struggling at one point. So, yeah, you can see how much this means to him.
There will definitely be a tear in the eye when Alex Legui gets to him, because he says, you know, when I was driving single-seater, sometimes I was too Latin. I've gradually, as I've got older, I've managed to work that mostly out of my system. He doesn't have many hot-headed moments on the track, but boy, when the emotion is allowed free rein, it comes to the surface, doesn't it?
This is going to be in direct contrast to how Ivan Muller's feeling right now, having started from pole position in the identical sister car, of course.
Yeah, a remarkable qualifying effort from Ivan, and you have to say from Nicky Kasberg. Was a great drive from Jose Maria Lopez. I've got to say, Nicky Kasberg, I think, probably equal driver of the day. Thiago Montero has had a great weekend, a win and a 2nd place. He leads the championship by 1 point. Now they need to get their Q3 act together so they can score extra championship points in the final part of qualifying, because Thiago was only 7th in Q2, didn't get through into those top 5 qualifying spots. But from 7th on the grid to 2nd place, hard to argue with that, isn't it? That's a good main race for Thiago.
Absolutely, and 4 brands in the top 4. Very, very close.
Okay, one Lada there, and the other 2 were sort of hors de combat, went missing in action. Gabriele Tarquini and Ugo Valente in both races. But Nicky Kasberg, yeah, good race weekend for him. Really good race weekend. Let's hear, though, from our race winner with Alex Legui.
So many celebrations down here. Petito Lopez, you win the main race here at Slovakia Rig. What a race, what a battle. We heard you on the comms. What was going on?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Speaking? I was desperate. I mean, I think any person in the world, he would have stopped. I don't know. I just see the rim, and it's. First of all, I'm very lucky. I thank God. I mean, a normal car wouldn't finish. We would not finish the race. It's amazing, this car. I don't know how it didn't broke. I was putting away. I would say, okay, doing my thing and concentrate. The start was fantastic. And then from lap 3, I started to feel a big noise from the back of the car. And the car was slowing down. I was losing the pedal of the brakes as well. So, yeah, I did 10 laps like this, and it was, I mean, every single meter, I was thinking this is my last corner.
I have to say, you're normally so calm, but we sort of sensed this pressure on you.
I mean, you know, any race, any point you can get is important, especially when you see your teammate is a bit in difficulties, when you see the competition strong, every point is important. And watching Thiago, that he did 2 amazing races, you know, I knew, you know, but it was, you know, it's just waiting until the car broke at one point, but then 4 laps to go, I say, okay, if he has to brake, he will brake. I need to try to win at least, you know. I had the car to win, so I went for it, and it worked. So thanks to my team again, thanks to Citroën and everybody who helped me to do this. This is amazing. I won in Slovakia, an amazing place, so it's very important for me and for everybody. So, but most important today, I've been the lucky guy.
Congratulations, well done.
The more he works, the luckier he gets. That's the old phrase, isn't it? Well, you know, it's that thing where, okay, it's going to break one more corner. Come on, Carl, one more corner. And then you get to the start line. I'm not coming into the pits. One more lap. And eventually, somehow, he worked out a way to get the car back up to the sharp end. And damn it if he didn't go and win the race with a car that he didn't think was going to finish a lap under him on every lap he drove it. And as he said, we talked about this in race 1, when you've got a car to win, try and win. When you haven't, try and get any single point you can. And that's where he started off in this race, trying to win it. Then he was down into any position is better than being parked in the pits. And then suddenly, it all came back to, let's try and win it.
4 laps to go, you would never have put your money on Lopez there.
Not a chance.
Done an amazing job to do that. You know, fortune favours the brave, and Lopez has really capitalised on that.
Well, we sort of talked all day in the European Touring Car Cup and in the World Touring Cars about the benefits of never giving up. And again, we finished the race weekend with the ultimate example of never giving up. And that's what all of these drivers experience. You have to push it until there is no other option. Thiago Monteiro leaves here, and for the first time in his touring car career as a full-time driver, Jose Maria Lopez is not the championship leader at the end of a race weekend. That is the first time ever. But the gap is just 1 as we head to Hungary in a week. So our podium for the main race in Slovakia, a well-earned 3rd position for Nicky Katzberg, was denied pole position very slightly by Jose Maria Lopez being there in the way on his quick lap. Thiago Monteiro takes the silver medal position, 2nd place for him after winning the opening race. What a big weekend for him, but what a gritty, determined, never give up effort from Jose Maria Lopez. You know you're in the company of greats, don't you, when you see a guy produce a result out of nothing. And Citroen, the winning constructor. The winner of our WTCC trophy race was second in the opening race. He finished here in 7th position, Mehdi Banani. Good race weekend for him as well. Overall podium and 2 wins in the WTCC trophy, the Independence Points race. Now the reigning, the world champion and our race winners' national anthem. And the anthem of our winning manufacturer, Citroen.
Presenting the trophy to 3rd place.
So, congratulations indeed to Jose Maria Lopez, our winner of the main race at Paul Ricard, our winner of the main race here in the Slovakia ring. 3rd place trophy goes to Nicky Katzberg. He'd have won a 10-lapper here. Unfortunately for him, it was a 12-lapper. But that car, that driver in that car, there's an awful lot of potential there.
Absolutely. I think Lada have sort of misperformed, if you know what I mean, underperformed this weekend, considering their pace, but I'm glad they've managed to get a podium out of it, and bodes well for the future.
Well rewarded for his efforts. He so nearly had an outright pole position, nearly out-qualified the world champion and a 4-time world champion in the fastest car on the grid, and came up just 0.04 of a second shy. He'll be disappointed not to have won it, and that's a very good thing, because it shows the determination, it shows the desire of the Lada team. They don't want to be here to make up the numbers. They want to be on the podium, they want to win races, they want to win pole positions. Thiago Montero won the opener and took 2nd, and Jose Maria Lopez, now that was winning a scrum against the head by the biggest possible way, wasn't it? You know, he had no right to be winning that race, he had no right to be finishing that race from what we understood on the radio. And yet there it is, he's on the top step of the podium again.
That's the sobering thing for the opposition, is that this wasn't supposed to be Citroen's weekend. And here we are, main race, Jose Maria Lopez, the winner.
Well, if Citroen can use the simulators to forecast that their car should take a pole position, then the others should be using their simulators to forecast that Citroen are not out of the equation. The car was undoubtedly designed to run with plus 60 kilos of ballast, the maximum normally during the season. At the beginning of the year, it came in with plus 80. So it's 20 kilos over its operating weight. A 20-kilo weight ballast on the best car in the field is not necessarily the biggest of handicaps. However, that may change when we get to Hungary next week. The weights may be shifted around, depends on what pace the various different manufacturers' cars, the top 2 in each class or each manufacturer produced in qualifying and in the races. Well, Nicky Katzberg very quickly off the mark with the champagne, and rightly so. Relish every moment of it. Mehdi Banani gets a little taste of the fizzy as well. I think that was a sterling weekend's effort from Nicky Katzberg and the Lada team. And there, you know, they're a couple of little adjustments and a bit of luck and a following wind away from being race winners.
Yeah, they could have scored better points in race 1 had Gabriele and Hugo not run into each other. So I think we're going to have a bit more of that, aren't we? I think
there is the chance, yes, there is the chance that that might be. And the more Nicky Katzberg can keep himself out of that, the better he will be off. So there you go, Honda with the points lead over Citroen by 3, and Thiago Montero with the championship lead over Lopez by 1. So the playing field does look fairly even. What we see a week from now in Hungary entirely remains to be seen. There may be changes, there may be trouble ahead. Mehdi Banani leads Tom Chilton and Tom Coronel in the Yokohama points lead, but Chilton, Coronel, Philippi covered by just 9 points, and only 10 back is de Moustier. They need to do something about reining in Banani, though. He's got his knees under the table with that C-Elysée and is determined to capitalise. There he is, the WTCC Trophy points leader. And that is it from us here in Slovakia.